Last week, Ibanez has released the Alpha guitar, and it created some sort of buzz in the guitar scene. Ooh, they're stealing from 𝙭𝙙𝙬𝙀 guitars, and the shape is like the 𝙬𝙙𝙀𝙀 Kaizen, etc., etc. And I often think with those comparisons, a few key elements are missing here and there. So here are my 5 cents to this topic, and I will demonstrate my 5 cents with comparing the Alpha guitar with the 𝙬𝙀𝙀 Kaizen. What the fuck is this? Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? I'm 𝗏𝗏𝙀𝙀 back from my practice dojo and welcome to today's video. Yes, since the Alpha was released, there were a little bit of buzz going around and a little bit of a controversial that the Alpha looks a little bit too much like guitars from other companies and other brands. But I have to say, I don't really get it. Truth to be told, I'm definitely biased in my opinion. I am a huge fanboy when it comes to Ibanez. I'm an endorser from Ibanez for several years now. I love to work together with these guys. The company always have been good and great for me, and I'm extremely honored that I'm one of the first guys ever who owns the Alpha and who was able to really dig deep into that instrument and to make promotional videos and to really check it out and all these kind of things. So there I'm really honored. But yes, my opinion may be a little bit biased. I have to be honest to you in that kind of case. Though on the other hand, I also gained experience in playing the Kaizen and the 𝙭𝙙𝙬𝙀 guitar, and I want to share it here a little bit, because when we take away the look, there are a lot of things under the surface that are definitely different in those kind of guitars. And the second thing is, I truly believe that a lot of these gear reviewers and gear YouTubers are only doing certain videos because there's a buzz and a controversial going around, and controversial buzz always means good clicks. I mean, I cannot blame them. You have to play the game. But the negativity that the Alpha gets, I think it's not fair for this kind of guitar. So my opinion is definitely biased, but I want to try to make an objective comparison as well. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody who owns an 𝙭𝙭𝙬𝙀 here in Germany. I know maybe one or two from my Discord and my Patreon, but it was simply not possible to drive across the country to get that guitar for like a video or so. I played it and I tested it though on the NAMM 24 and NAMM 25. And when it comes to the Kaizen on the other hand, I fortunately know somebody, my good friend Kaizen from Six String TV, who owns a Kaizen, because he made a really cool review about that guitar. So as soon as I wanted to make this kind of comparison video, I asked him if I could have that guitar for 1 or 2 days, and he replied me this.
Jo, ja klar kannst du die haben. Ich bringe sie gerne die Tage mit. Tu mir nur einen Gefallen, bitte behalte sie danach auch. Das Ding macht mich wirklich wahnsinnig. Ich habe mich schon da tot versucht mit Setups und mit Fretwork und allem möglichen, aber die bleibt einfach nicht gestimmt und die wird auch einfach nicht besser spielbar. Aber vielleicht reicht's ja für dein Video.
So here I can make a truly objective comparison, and it's not going to look good for the Kaizen, but later about that more. First, I want to get into the claim that the design is copied and stolen by 𝙭𝙭𝙬𝙀 guitars or by 𝙬𝙀𝙀 with the Kaizen and whatnot. And there I honestly have to say, really? Isn't that design more stolen from a company called Ibanez? Yes, because the 𝙭𝙭𝙬𝙀 guitars, they used to be Ibanez guitars. They were never really released for public, but they were the prototype. And Tobin took that design and he created 𝙭𝙭𝙬𝙀 guitars. And I don't know if Ibanez was more responsible for that kind of design or if Tosin 𝙭𝙭𝙬𝙀 was more responsible for that kind of design. I don't know, we don't know. The only thing that we know is he took that design and he created 𝙭𝙭𝙬𝙀 guitars out of it, which is absolutely fine, no problem at all, but it used to have the brand name Ibanez on it. And second, it's not like the first time that a company was ripping off a design from a different company, especially in the history of guitar. I mean, this used to happen all the time And it absolutely makes sense when a change of design is adapted by different companies, because maybe a change of design is made because it made the guitar better in playability, more efficient for the posture or whatnot. I mean, and we have the same kind of philosophy and approaches in all kind of companies, like take cars, for example. When there is a change of design in the shifting gear or in the steering wheel or whatnot, and people realized, wow, this absolutely makes sense, other companies will adapt this change of design. Yes, and you could say that the upper half of the Alpha is inspired by the Kaizen guitar and the lower half of the Alpha is inspired by Abazi guitars, but is that really the case? I mean, let's check that out for real. The upper half, yes, I would say the longer horn is kind of similarity to the Kaizen. And the whole end of the guitar, the bevel, you mean, look at this, it's something completely different. And it more represents maybe like a John Petrucciani ball signature guitar, but not at all the Kaizen. And to be honest, this kind of bevel is not really good to play. We will come to this later. The whole lower side, well, this is also Strandberg-esque, so it's not necessarily only a Basis kind of design. And to have the lower horn farther away from the fretboard to gain more fret accessibility, I'm sorry, but Dean made this 20 years ago with the Rusty Cooley signature. My good friend Henning Pauli, aka HP42, he perfectly said this in his review about the Alpha. Ibanez just went for the market. They were searching for a modern design that is also good in playability and is following the Ibanez philosophies when it comes to the playability. And he also perfectly explains why it's not possible for a big company like Ibanez to create obscure and absurd kind of shapes where they don't know if it will sell. I, of course, highly recommend to watch out Henning's video right here. But again, yeah, I think they were only following the market. They're only checking out, okay, let's do a modern kind of design. Of course, you could say like 5 years too late, like with the Quest, the headless model of Ibanez. But even though still the Quest is an extremely good guitar for that price. And in those big companies, these kind of risks, they sometimes takes a little bit more time. Again, Henning explained that really well in his video. And I would say now let's get into the comparison of the Alpha and the Kaizen. Here we go. Okay, the first pro about the Kaizen is they have the strap pin already in the back of the horn. Really good. Ibanez, please do that in the future as well. It could be a little bit more here. I mean, we have so much space here. If it's here or here, it doesn't make a lot of a difference. I would put this much more here, like I modified it with my Alpha. But at least they did something like this. Oh, Ingvi's running around. And the next pro is this is a normal bridge. Yes, because I have to say the guitar that I got from Kaizen, it is not an Ernie Ball Kaizen, it is a Sterling Kaizen. So we are here in the price range of around 800, 900 euros, which is still quite a lot. I mean, the original Kaizen, I think, costs around 4,000 euros. And for that price, I'm sorry, but for me at least, it has the unplayable bridge ever. That bridge design on the original Kaizen, that angled kind of bridge, which is kind of not angled, and then it's diagonal and whatnot. Ooh, when I took the Kaizen at the NAMM 25, it really didn't feel good for fast speed picking licks, no. But here on the Sterling, we have a simple, normal bridge. Nice. The third thing that I really like with the Kaizen are the tuner. This tuner design is actually quite good. If only they would work. Because the Kaizen, this guitar is untunable. It is really, really hard to tune. Kalen told me he tried it so many times. He tried to restore that guitar so often and he couldn't do anything. And in the end, now I have a guitar that sounds exactly like this. Yes, for the stuff that I do, I usually say to myself, playability over sound, because to play these kind of things live on stage, I need a guitar that helps me and that is not in my way. It does not have to be playability over sound like that we have here on those forced frets. The next contra of that guitar is actually where we have the input jack. Because, I mean, you have this kind of shape to play in classical position, and then you have the input jack constantly, you know, poking your right leg. While on the Alpha, we have the input jack right here, up here. And while it is a little bit unusual in the beginning, for playing in sitting down and as well standing up, it's extremely comfortable because really nothing is in your way. In the review that I made 1 week ago, I talked about one contra of that guitar, which is that the upper horn starts at the 17th fret and not at the 19th fret. The Ibanez do this the same. The 𝙗𝙗𝙙 is terrible to play for somebody who has a thumb in a higher position. And yes, I know I own you guys that video. It will come where I explain why I think a more efficient technique is the one where the thumb is a little bit higher on the fretboard and not necessarily in the middle of the fretboard. One positive aspect that I haven't really talked about in my review because I didn't know exactly what it was is the neck. But now I know why the neck is so special and so different. Here, the Alpha adopts the 3-screw neck joint construction, which is kind of an innovative design. Through screws mounted in an oval-shaped stainless steel plate, and one independent screw driven directly from the body into the neck. This gives the Alpha a fuller sound, but still a really snappy, cool attack, which is not necessarily possible or kind of different with usual bolt-on necks. And a second is the neck by itself. We have a 21mm thickness across all positions, but besides being symmetrical on the horizontal line, we are asymmetrical on the vertical line, with a thinner high E string side to reduce strain on the fretting hand, and the lower string side is thicker to ensure a stable grip, to have your thumb a little bit more comfortable for playing shred lines and of course bending and vibrato. And I know that the Ibanez guitars, they have kind of a similar neck design. I don't really know why, and there again, I'm just talking out of my experience, so not the most objective opinion here. Trigger warning about that. But when I played it and when I tried it, it didn't felt really smooth and really nice. Ibanez, on the other hand, they took this kind of concept and they created something really good, something really well playable, and I liked it right from the beginning where I got this guitar like over a month ago, and I loved it while being on stage with that guitar. I've already played 3 shows with it. I created demo videos. So far, every time when I play this guitar, I absolutely fell in love with it, and I cannot take my hands off that guitar. It is just a simply good playable guitar. Of course, we have that one issue on the 24th fret. I talked about that with the upper horn, but everything above the 24th fret, around the 22nd fret at the little threshold, super great to play. But of course, you could easily argue, well, in the 80s, Ibanez did some really new and innovative kind of stuff. Why don't they innovate something new nowadays? Well, I see this like with Dream Theater. Dream Theater in the 90s reinvented metal, created a whole new metal genre. Now, do they reinvent metal again? No. Do they have to? No. Am I still hyped every time when a new Dream Theater record is coming out? Hell yeah, because I know what I get. And for me, they don't have to reinvent the wheel anymore. They maybe have to adapt it to a new kind of modern sound and modern kind of feel. And the same with the Ibanez. I know what I get when it comes to Ibanez. Really well, good crafted guitars, incredible necks, but I don't need innovation just because of the innovation course. I need good playability. The uniqueness of that guitar lies more underneath the surface or underneath the guitar. I'm still looking to have a chance to get the Ibanez guitar so I can make a real comparison video about the Ibanez and the Alpha guitar, but so far this is what I've remembered from playing that guitar. I didn't really like that neck design. Oh, and another thing with the Kaizen. Kalen told me he got that guitar in this kind of condition, and he tried so much to fix it. And this is just bad quality control. And from my experience as well, and from a lot of customers, this does not necessarily happen on Ibanez with an €800 guitar. So I would be careful getting these kind of things or trying out these kind of things. I mean, it's just one case. You know, it's not, could be that it was like one mistake and it just happened once, but it always gives me kind of the feeling to be a little bit more careful when I get a guitar, set it up with this, with, you know, the first fret sounding like this. Oh, no. Let me get back my Alpha. And my conclusion to all of this is make yourself your own opinion. Go to the next local shop if possible and try out one of these guitars. I think the Ibanez guitar a little bit harder to try out, at least here in Germany. I know that the distribution is not so easy, especially in political times like this, but it's not the fault of Ibanez at all. But if you have the chance to try out these guitars, then try them out and look what's more comfortable and better for you and for your playing style. From my experience, I don't think that it's really necessary to compare these guitars, and I don't think it's fair to compare these guitars because, again, a lot of companies are, you know, And second is, the alpha has a lot more than meets the eye. And this was a big surprise for me. And so much for my little video and my 5 cents about the alpha is stealing the designs from so many companies, and now those independent companies get crushed and destroyed by those big companies, which is not necessarily happening. 𝙗𝙗𝙦𝙬 is still, I would say, a pretty good performing company, to be honest, but oh no, drama everywhere. Yeah, so much about this little video. I hope you liked this little video. I hoped that if you liked it, you will leave a nice comment. What is your opinion on that? Let me know in the comment section. Leave a like, leave a subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'm going to see you in my next video. I wish you a lot of fun learning, practicing, and mastering the guitar. Cheers, and power your progress.